Super Bowl is upon us, and we are going to start out with breaking it down here, Scotty. Now, here you go. The line has not changed in this one, and this has been consistent. I honestly am a little surprised that the line hasn't adjusted a little bit in this one. I thought that potentially this could come back to like a pick 'em, maybe, swing a little bit more towards the Chiefs side. But right now, the Eagles are holding in at a 1.5 point favorite in this game. Over under set at 50.5. Money line. Philadelphia minus 122 to just win straight up. Kansas City getting plus 104 on the just winning the game. So that being said, we've had a lot of buildup. We have all the Kelsey brother talk in the media, which is amazing. I'm loving all of that. I'm loving all of the sound bites. We had Mahomes trying to put mustaches on people on airplanes, all the fun stuff that takes place before the event. But we have, when you get down to it, two really good teams, number one seeds going after it in the biggest game of the year. So here we go. Let's break it down a little bit. Let's get to, the nitty gritty of what we like for each team, what we don't like for each team. Guys, as we're talking through this, we want you guys to talk about what you think in the chat about all the different angles of this game. We're not gonna touch too much on the bets here. We're gonna get to that in our own, bets, prop bets, everything else, all the fun stuff next. So just hang tight on that. But Scotty, maybe we just stick to maybe just the spread, the over under, and just the analysis of what we think will happen in this game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I obviously we got a close. Vegas sees this as a very close game with a 1.5 point spread. It's tight. I agree with you. I'm surprised it hasn't moved a little towards Kansas City, and I still think a lot of casual bettors, especially, don't bet on the Super Bowl until probably Friday, Saturday, or even Sunday before the game. And I think at that point you'll see movement towards closer to at least a pick 'em. It's gonna be a good one, Chris. Hey. Top to bottom, the Philly roster is very, very good. They have at least one, Pro Bowl type player on every level of every part of their offense. So offensive line is good, obviously. Jalen Hurts was an second team All Pro this year. You got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside, Dallas Goedert in the tight end spots, so a ton of guys to throw to. And a good run game with that, I don't know how elite Miles Sanders is, but he behind that offensive line, and they create space, and that run game has been dominant, especially in the postseason. For Kansas City, hey, obviously it starts with the best player in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, a good offensive line. We'll see. I mean, a lot of health questions, more so with, I think, Kansas City heading into this with the three at least two wide receivers and Juju and Tony. How healthy are they going to be? How healthy is Mahomes' ankle going to be? The defensive side is not talked about enough with the Chiefs. I mean, people talk about Chris Jones and then consider that there's no one else on that defense. That defense is a lot better than I think people give credit for. And of the last 4 years, Chiefs teams, and as far as making the Super Bowl defense wise, this might be the best. That and the year they won it in Miami are clearly their two best. So, there's a lot to if you're Philadelphia, what you're looking for is you want to establish the run game. I have nightmares about Nick Bolton Nick Bolton, especially a linebacker for the Chiefs, missing assignments in the run game and causing wide open second level runs for Miles Sanders. And that gives me a lot of pause. I'm less worried about, ironically, Philly throwing the ball, and we'll get into that with some of the props that I have on Hurts and the under on passing yards. But listen, AJ Brown, I think is phenomenal. Devontae Smith's phenomenal. They have a ton of weapons. I'm not sure if Hurts is still fully healthy with that shoulder since he's come back. I worry a little bit about that for them. The Chiefs' defensive secondary is pretty aggressive. It's young. There's a lot of rookies that play back there. But specifically, Trent McDuffie, our first-round corner, missed some time in the middle of the season, and we gave up like 4 of those 6 games. We gave up 300 yards passing in. Every game he's played in, we haven't given up 300 yards passing in a single one. So, thank you, Jim. Thank you for the raid, Jim. Hope you had a great stream tonight. Hope you were just raving about, I assume, the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Or not, but thanks for the raid and welcome in, everybody. We're just diving into this game. I'm probably talking way too much, Chris. I just have a lot of thoughts.
That's why this is the Super Bowl extravaganza, man. We're talking
about one game. We're not talking about all these other games.
No,
there's only one.
That's it. Yeah, guys, if you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Chris. This is Scott. We are your host for the ActionLab. We are live here every Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday nights on Twitch. So make sure you guys hit that follow button. We are just absolutely getting started with a massive Super Bowl special. You are here just in time. So welcome in. Let us know your thoughts on the game. Let us know who you're fans of. And we can break this down further. We have prop bets. We have talking some all sorts of cool, just crazy props and Super Bowl snacks and all sorts of cool stuff. So stick around. Keep rolling, Scotty. If you got a lot to say, I mean, what you're hearing in the media about?
Yeah. I mean, offensively for the Chiefs, I think Philly's a little more of a bend don't break defense than people talk about. And listen, we talked before that Philly hasn't faced exactly a murderer's row of quarterbacks this year. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So I certainly think this is the toughest matchup Philly's had to face this year as far as an offense they've played. And when they did play some decent quarterbacks like Dak, like Aaron Rodgers, even Jared Goff, they gave up at least 33 points in each of those matchups. So they've kind of got exposed when they played the upper echelon of offenses in the league, but then they just manhandle, the lower tier teams. Great defensive line. I think if you're Philly, you look at, listen, they have a chance to like set the record for most sacks in a season, including postseason play. Like they can get after the quarterback. I think Hassan Reddick has an ability from the outside to have a huge impact on this game against the Chiefs tackles, who I think are the weak link of their offensive line. I think their guards and center are absolutely incredible. I worry about the tackles, especially Andrew Wiley at the right tackle spot, being able to hold up against this elite D line for Philly. That might be the most important matchup of the game, is the Chiefs offensive line versus Philly's defensive line. If the Chiefs can block Philly's D line, the Chiefs are going to have a field day. If Philly's able to get pressure early and often on Mahomes, you might see a repeat of what happened to the Chiefs a couple years in the Super Bowl against Tampa, which was not pretty, if I recall. I tried to forget it by consuming alcohol, but I still have nightmares about it.
Yeah, fair. And that's going to be interesting too, because I mean, you mentioned that defensive front by the Eagles, and it's like, Reddick, Sweat, Hargrave, and Graham each have been crushing when it comes to getting after the quarterback with sacks and everything else. They have a lot of pressure, and that's, with a quarterback that's maybe still on the recovery. Patrick Mahomes, at that ankle injury, isn't completely, but he looks so good even with the injuries that I'm just like, all right, well, he could still manage to move around, and they'll have him in a good spot. But I think that's going to be a key. I think the running game from the Eagles is going to be a key when it comes to Kansas City. Haven't really played too many top 10 defenses when it comes to the rush. Now they face the number one ground game when it comes to the Eagles run game. But I do think the Chiefs do have some areas where, again, no matter who's in that lineup, they seem to find success, and they've been one of the best offenses to be able to put up points regardless of who's at the wide receiver position. I think that they're going to game plan for getting the ball out of Mahomes' hands quickly, because you're going to have to with that defensive front. And I think that's going to be a big piece. Travis Kelce, I don't think Philadelphia has seen a good tight end. They've seen a good tight end twice all year. So I don't think there's going to be much of an answer for Travis Kelce. And I think he's going to be the key, which is one of my big long shot prop bets I'm kind of going big on. I think he's going to feast this game. So I'll touch on that in a little bit. But there's fascinating matchups. And you have an Eagles team that's overall pretty healthy. outside of the quarterback position. And then you have a Chiefs team who's kind of, like you said, battling more of the injury bug across a few more positions. But either way, I think this game slows down a little bit, Scotty. I think the Eagles want to run the ball. I think that's kind of what they are going to be geared towards, especially against Kansas City, and being able to finally, hey, Jim.
Thank you for the
Thank
sub,
you
Jim.
so much for the 3 months, Jim. Appreciate that love. Let's go. Oh my goodness. Let's go.
Appreciate it. 3 months now. You guys haven't checked out Jim, check out his stream. He talks about sports, guys.
Jim on
I don't know
sport.
if you, I don't know if you were able to tell from his name, but he talks about sports.
Go give Jim some love and give him a follow because he absolutely crushes. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, I think the over/under set at 50.5. I think this is a tad high. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game than maybe. We always see this in Super Bowls. Even high powered offenses team to come out slower and kind of get in the mix of things. I think maybe that might be a potential thing to keep an eye on, are the rookies in this game that might, obviously rookies playing in a big game, especially, Kansas City has some on the defensive back area of the back end of their defense, but the Super Bowl's a little different than a lot of these other games. I mean, the playoffs playing in that Kansas City environment, I think prepares them a little bit more, but I mean, it's going to be an insane environment, the pressure, everything. So a lot of factors go into this one, Scotty.
Yeah, I'd probably lean with you or agree with you that I'd lean under, but it's going to be close. I would lean under. Rex said he predicted 27-24, which is literally 51 points. So he's right there. I think historically, and I'll talk about this more with the props, but historically, like, first quarters of Super Bowls are notorious for being low scoring. Like, both teams are kind of a little nervous. Teams are trying to get a feel in the game. They don't want to make the big mistake early on, so they're a little more conservative, it feels like. And there's not typically, and this isn't obviously every Super Bowl, but far more frequently than a normal game, you see low scoring in that opening quarter, at least, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, take a look at a tale of two schedules. The Chiefs played the 9th toughest schedule while the Eagles played the 29th easiest. So scheduling, I feel like the Eagles took advantage and played really well when it came to, beating the teams they needed to up until this point. They had some easy run. I mean, you got to think too, the run in the NFC was not a gauntlet by any means, Scotty. I mean, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs definitely had to account for a little bit tougher of a route to the Super Bowl, whereas Philadelphia played against a team without a even quarterback last round in the playoffs. They couldn't even throw the ball. So
I mean, the Chiefs are more battle tested, especially with quarterbacks they've played, right? Because Burrow twice now. They played Herbert obviously twice during the year, Josh Allen once, Trevor Lawrence, if you want to throw him in there, once. So they've played a higher caliber of certainly quarterbacks than Philly's had to face this year. And I would list everyone except maybe Trevor Lawrence. You could debate back and forth, but I think all those other guys, Herbert, Allen, and Burrow, are, to me, a more dangerous quarterbacks than Jalen Hurts is. I think Jalen Hurts is nice, but I think he's a product of an absolutely loaded roster surrounding him a little bit.
Yeah. I think, man, either way, it's crazy. Like, I look at, all my different sources on like where I see this game going. And every time I see something for one side, I see a counter for the other. And I see this and I see this. And I'm like, well, this team is better here. This team is better here. And I mean, it's all reflected in this Eagles -1.5, right? I mean, the fact that this hasn't moved, even if it moves a little bit more towards the end of the week to a pick'em, I mean, it's still, we're looking at one of the closest Super Bowl spreads that we've seen. I mean, there's not too many of them that are this close. I think I saw some stats where there was only like maybe 4 or 5 total that have ever been this close and not just grown over the course of the week. So either way, we're going to be in for an amazing game, in my opinion. But
Yeah. In the last 10 Super Bowls, I think only 2 were within a 1.5 spread. The Chiefs 49ers, Chiefs were favored by 1 headed into that one. And Seahawks Patriots, everyone remembers that one, right? That was a pick 'em. That was a pick 'em leading up to the game. The infamous interception at the end of the game at the goal line by Seattle that clinched it for New England.
Yeah.
So if we get a game like that, that would be great for everyone watching. But if I am on the Seattle end of that, I don't know if you'll see me again, Chris. That might be it for me.
Oh man. Let's see what's in the chat real quick. Rec, I predicted 27-24. Yeah, half a point. Fun fact, 28-3 game was 0-0 after the first quarter. Yeah, no, like these games start slow, and there's one prop bet that I love that is reflected in that, and I'll just let you know I'm feeling pretty good about that one. So we're gonna get to those here in a little bit, but let's see, what else do we have? Oh, get the predictions in. We have prediction poll in the chat about drafting chips. Where will it go in the draft? We got to talk about that's one area of the draft we'll have to discuss before we jump into it. But we'll get there in a minute, or a little bit later.
About whether chips should be separated.
Like,
are they with dip?
Well, yeah, chips and dip, and then do you do separate chips and dip
like,
draft?
I feel like they're a tandem because you don't have. I mean, especially dip. You're never gonna pick dip if it's just dip. That's weird. What are you, just spooning dip in your mouth?
It's just eating dip.
Yeah, I think chips and dip are a package pair myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. But then, or like if you take like spinach and artichoke dip, is that different than buffalo dip? And is it just chips and dip is just one? I think it's just one.
Think for our draft, it's one.
It's one.
Yes.
So
I mean, it encompasses all chips and all dips.
Yeah. So
that could go early. Chris.
That could go real early.
Yeah.
No, that's on the radar. It's on the radar. We're gonna be doing our Super Bowl snacks draft later on, once we get past a couple more parts of the show. But guys, what are your thoughts here for this game? I know it's kind of quiet in the chat. I want to hear your thoughts on what you think will happen. Do you guys think that there will be a high scoring game, low scoring game? Do you think that there will be a lot of fast scoring in the beginning, or close game in the end? Scotty, you have one prop bet that I'm really excited about too, that how the game will finish. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. But
why not? That's what you're talking about. One of my long shots.
One of your long shots. Yeah. Ty 37-34 KC. JK 34-31 KC.
So fireworks. That's a lot of points. Both those picks.
That's a lot of points.
Those are easily eclipsing the over. Yeah, but hey, I mean, listen, both these teams scored the exact same amount of points leading up to this game, Chris. There's a wild stat for you. I don't know if you knew that. They literally have scored the exact same total points this year,
which is crazy.
Playoffs headed into this game. So, yeah, pretty wild in that respect. So these offenses can certainly get it done and get in a rhythm. I tend to think the defenses are going to show out a little more than people may think. I'm probably closer, Chris, to like a 27-20. My Chiefs, obviously.
27-20.
Taking care of business.
Okay. I like it. And you know what's going to be awesome too, and what's good about both these teams getting a little bit of a bye week here is the fact that both quarterbacks will have an extra little bit of time to get better. And we're going to be getting better play. It's not like we're having two banged up quarterbacks that are just absolutely just going into this game like on fumes, right? So that's what's really nice about this one. You have two number one seeds. Both quarterbacks are kind of battling through some stuff, so we're pretty even there, and it's just we're gonna see what these teams do. I think this game is gonna be won and lost in the trenches, depending on how KC can defend Patrick Mahomes and how the pass rush on either side can get to the quarterback. And I think that's gonna be a big time factor in how this game plays out. Honestly, I mean that's where this game is gonna be won.
Yeah. Totally. Milwaukee, will Mahomes finish the game? Don't you put that evil on me. Why even bring that up? Don't even. What's wrong with you, Milwaukee?
Oh,
don't make me ban. Now I want to ban both our mods.
We have 3 mods.
Oh, that's right. Not Devil Doc, you're cool. You're cool.
Doc just kind of chills. You know, he just like stays on the side and just like
don't rock the boat like these two.
Listen here, Travis.
Taiwan on. What are the odds on going to overtime? So I looked at that on DraftKings specifically, and I wanted to bet no. Because I listened to a podcast where they're like, if you can get it at like 10 to 11, minus 10 or 1100. We've had 56 Super Bowls, Chris. Do you know how many have gone to overtime?
1.
Well, I think 1.
Is your name Chris Reck? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yes it is.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't think I knew your name, Reck. Is it Chris?
If you live in Coast, you know that.
Oh, well, yeah. Not the most observant person. All right, well, fair enough then. Yeah, 1 game, and that was, of course, the infamous 28-3 comeback by the Patriots that they went into overtime and won on the ensuing, first drive of overtime. So, and I saw, and it was only like, and to bet no was like minus 25,000. So it was literally like absurd.
25,000 or 100?
Well, 2,500, sorry. So basically, you got to bet $2,500 to get $100.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not worth it on that end. And on the other end, it was only like 11 to 1 odds on DraftKings. And I'm like, at 11 to 1 on a bet that's only hit once in 56 Super Bowls.
Is that worth it?
That's not, you're not getting good value there.
No.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of value and speaking of putting some money out there, Rec, we have Super Bowl squares that we're trying to put together. Now, I know Scotty, you would get in on some squares. I'm down to get in on some squares. It sounds like Football Wife is in the chat trying to get in on some squares.
It's already up. Just tell me your scores.
Okay, so how many how many people expressed interest, and how many people are like, what are we looking at?
Do we have a lot of work to do here, Rec?
No,
I mean, as far as like in getting more people in.
Potentially, but I think like once we get it started, once some people start getting in, then more will come in. Let me put it like this. I would play it because it's free.
It is free.
Even I would. Yeah, I put a vote out. Most people voted for a free square, so that's what I'm doing.
Otherwise, Rec would not be participating, guys.
I'm hosting it either way, so you two can participate too.
Okay. Is there a link to the squares or anything that you could just?
Yeah, it's a Google Doc, a sheet thing.
It's in the Discord under contests.
Okay,
yeah.
there you go.
In the chat. I just put in the chat, but
there you go. And maybe we'll get so it's free to play. Maybe we'll just give out a prize for somebody who wins. We'll just do prizes. We'll maybe get some from our new merch store. By the way, guys, go to our store.
Rec had put out there that you get Twitch Nitro, but we can add some merch in there.
Yeah,
Discord Nitro. But yeah, you two can participate too.
Did I call it something wrong?
You call it Twitch.
What is it?
Twitch Nitro. It's Discord.
Oh, Discord Nitro. Yep. Forgive me.
But you still have to tell me which ones it is because I have it so only I can edit it. I can only edit the sheet.
So you gotta designate what squares you want.
Yeah, but you can message me like what square you want, but yeah.
Yeah. Yep. A little bit, just map it out a little bit like if you're playing Battleship,
Yeah.
D7.
Yep, that's actually how it is right now.
Oh, see? Look at me. Got it all figured out.
Because I also did this with the Steelers Discord.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, they were in that scenario. You probably wanted like 0-0 square.
No, I'm saying I did with the Steelers Discord for the Super Bowl for this one.
Oh, for this Super Bowl. Oh, not for a Steelers game. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Can you hear me now, Cuban? We're good. I think I toggled my mic for some reason.
So Ty, it's really simple. So let's say you think the final score would be 34-27 Chiefs. You will pick the score that correlates with Chiefs 4, Eagles 7. So even if this game ends like 17-14 Eagles, you still win because you got the right square.
There you go. So it's
always
the ending number.
The last digit. Yes.
Yes, the last
digit. Unless they only have one digit, and then in that case, it is in fact that digit, because technically, I guess it's the last digit, Chris.
Yes.
Which you only have to worry about with the Eagles. The Chiefs will obviously get to at least 21 plus, right? I don't know. Chris, you have one that I don't love. We'll get to it, but really on the under team total for the Chiefs. Huh? Okay. Wow.
I think it's gonna be close game, and I am leaning probably Eagles.
Here's what's you're leaning Eagles now. That wasn't the case before. I don't think.
So, and I said this in
Which is fine.
And I said this the other day, in the other, we were in the other chat, right? And this is just a product of me, of how bad it's been as a Broncos country here. And I'll tell you how it's related. But we had our first opening press conference with Sean Payton, and he mentioned in his press conference towards the end, and it was just one of those things where I was just like, watching it, trying to get like as much excitement out of it, and I was, it was good. He did a great job at the press conference, and then he was like, at one point, he was like, "I'll be going for the Eagles this weekend. If you're a Broncos fan, you don't want anybody else in our division to win anything. A perfect weekend for the Denver Broncos fan is we win and everybody else in the division loses." And I'm like,
I believe the last time that happened, by the way, I saw it on Twitter. Someone posted it. It was like, I think it was in like 2015. But go on.
And so
not a perfect weeks for you Bronco fans.
No. And that's why I was fired up, and I was like, you know what? Like, that's the attitude we should always have. And that's I don't do that for the NBA and other teams in our division, for the Nuggets. I don't do that in any other team. I know you have a hatred for the Broncos. You don't want us to succeed. I shouldn't want the Chiefs to succeed. And so it should be me rooting for the Eagles in this game. It should be.
So hold on. Your lean is simply from a rooting interest, not from an analytical interest.
Well, my analytical aspect was leaning towards Eagles as well.
Oh, okay.
Like if I were to bet this game, it's because we did prop bets. We didn't do the actual game. But if I were to bet this game, I would probably lean Eagles minus 1.5.
Oh, I have a heavy bet on this game, Chris.
Oh, I'm sure you do. But yeah, I think I might lean from an analytical standpoint. Like, I mean, this is so close, but I mean, the minus 1.5.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if this comes down to the wire, why wouldn't you roll with Jalen Hurts over Patrick Mahomes? That makes perfect sense.
I smell salt.
Ooh.
It's not salt. It's just for everyone that's saying it's a close game, but then they lean Eagles in a close game. That's weird to me, because if this game is close, which it will be, because by the way, the Chiefs in the last 5 seasons have lost by more than 7 only 3 times. So this game will be close.
Well,
and in a close game, I just don't know objectively how people are like, yeah, in a close game, I think the Eagles take it, when Mahomes is on the other side.
I mean, it could also be one of those things where it's like whoever has the ball last wins.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Could be.